Oh, it might help if I plug this in. All right. There we go. We're in business, yes. I am about to do more staining on my van. And we're testing out the POV camera tonight to see if it works. I also have one with a head mount. However, I don't really want anything heavy on my head, so I'm going to use this. All right, I need gloves. Get my other phone out so I can at least read some comments every now and then. Oh, you were asking how was work? Work was good. I was just busy today. Got out kind of late, but hopefully this view works out better for you guys. I mean, I'll be using this angle for some content that I film in the future when I'm living in the van. But tonight, what I want to do is I want to stain the, or not stain, I'm sorry, I already stained it. I want to put the epoxy on the countertop. I couldn't get to it last night because I splattered a crap load of stain all over the floor and I didn't want to step on it while it was wet. So that's what we're doing tonight. This is going to be a bitch. So, real quick, I'm going to grab that stool so I can have something to sit on. Otherwise, I'm going to have to crouch, and it's kind of uncomfortable. I at least want to be comfortable. Remember, it's easier to sit in the van than it is to walk around in the van. This. All right, you guys got a good view? Gotta kind of angle the camera. Oh, fuck, that hurt. This is a very tall stool. All right, so got that there. So I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use this bag, plastic bag here, and I'm gonna put the epoxy like over here. I'm gonna do it like this. I'm gonna do this so that way I can go over here with it and then onto here. And I'll put that there. I'm gonna go with a new paintbrush tonight because I ruined that one. Or it's not, I mean, it's stiff from the last time I used it. Here's that paintbrush. Here it is. This is the same type of paintbrush. Alright, the first thing I gotta do is, here we go. I still gotta kind of tilt my head, but it is what it is. The stool that I'm sitting on is a very tall stool for this van. So I figure I'm not working on the van again, obviously, until later this week, because I literally ran out of building materials. So Thursday I'm going to go purchase more stuff at Lowe's and Home Depot for this coming weekend. And basically that leaves this whole week that I can come out here every night and stain something, because it's kind of a big feat to stain like multiple things in this van. It's just very uncomfortable in some of the positions you have to be in to get into these surfaces. Like, it'll be different when I'm living in the van, because at least, you know, I'll be comfortable and not have to fucking crouch under cabinets and shit. But for extended periods of time, it kind of fucking sucks. So anyways, I got all week to do, you know, pick one thing to stain or do this epoxy. So tonight we're doing epoxy, because this will take longer to dry than the stain will. And I can't really work in here while this dries for 2 days. Well, I can work in here like staining, but I can't do anything like construction with dust or anything with sawdust, or basically I gotta drive with the windows up for the next few days at least. So tomorrow night I got more stuff I gotta come in here and stain. And I'm debating on whether or not I want to apply this epoxy on the desk, or the walls, I mean, of the desk surfaces, because they're facing the door. I'm thinking about that. Alright, so now what I would like to do is open this up. Oh shit. I don't know where my can opener went, but we're using this right now. It works. Okay. Can y'all see okay? Hopefully. So I already see this shit dripping down there, so maybe I can, there we go. I'm gonna do that. Oh, before I touch anything, I'm wearing one of my new hats, the Van Life hat, or one of the Van House Life hats. I got more on the way with a different logo. It's actually pretty comfortable. I like that it's not a very heavy hat. Like my Buckeyes hats are very heavy. It's kind of like light on my head. So this countertop really needed this, because it was very rough. Now it's going to be nice and smooth on the top. Let me get this over real quick. I really think this countertop is going to look amazing when it's done. better than the desk turned out, because remember that desk, I did not want to go with that stain originally. This is the stain I wanted to go with on surfaces. So this walnut's going to really look good when this is done. I'm not really a fan of this paintbrush. This is definitely not doing the same thing that the other one did. But now this other one's a little too stiff. Not a fan of this. So just so everybody knows, I'm practically done with the furniture in here. Just I gotta touch up the kitchen counter. I gotta close out the inside of the desk and then close out the bed. And essentially, I decided to just go with panel wood instead of doing a sheet of plywood. For one, it's cheaper, and two, it'll look better. The paneling, just for whatever reason, it just sits nice. However, I am going to stain the kitchen cabinets. I'm going to do the front of it, including the doors, are going to be the walnut color, so look different. I just really think that, paintbrush hair. But I am very close to being done with this thing. I'm basically a few Amazon orders away from having everything I need. And you know, this coming week I will be ordering the kitchen sink, which is going to go here. It's a black kitchen sink. It's got a faucet that can fold down into the sink, and then there's a cutting board that you put over the sink. So it'll basically turn the countertop here back into a countertop when I want it to be. And then the sink is 9 inches deep, so it'll sit pretty low. But because I'm not using traditional plumbing, it's just gonna drain into a 5-gallon gray water bucket. I don't have to do like the fancy grease trap under it or anything. Make life a little bit easier. The only thing that's going to be legit is the plumbing system. I mean, not plumbing system. The hose and the water pump and all that stuff. And that sink's going to look really nice in here. So I'm ordering that tomorrow night. And as of right now, I saved it to my cart, so it's ready to go when I get paid tomorrow. As of right now, it's showing that it'll be here by the 27th. Or the latest by the 27th or sooner. Usually when it says that, as long as they ship it out, when it says shipped, and it's coming from within this country, you usually get it within a few days. Like my battery right now, it says it's already been shipped, which means I'll probably end up getting it later this week or this weekend. And so you all know, the battery that I got is an $1,100 battery I got on Prime Week for $500. It was one of the most expensive appliances that I had to purchase for this fan build, and it just feels so good for that to finally be done and ordered and on the way. And to also know that I ended up getting a much more powerful battery than I was initially looking at on top of that. Because for not even $100, it was like $60 more I got an additional 1000 watt capacity on it. So it's actually stronger than my power inverter that I currently have. And that will buy me some time to finish the van up. And then when I'm living in the van, I'll be able to order each week. I'll be able to order one Renogy battery a week. They're $350 a piece. So figure 4 weeks, I'll get my 4 batteries. But I may not even need 4 batteries. There's a good chance that I won't need 4 of those. Because I'm not trying to run everything off of one power system. I just needed to power a couple things. But that's going to primarily be for like DC powered items. Because I could just hook them right up to the batteries. I'm thinking this coming weekend I also have to drop down these solar panel wires. And get those all set up in the back, ready for that battery. That's how I'll be charging the battery during the daytime. Let me know in chat what you guys think about this view. Do you guys like this view? Do I need to tilt the camera up a little bit when I crouch down like this? Is that better? Like, what do you guys think? I mean, this is, I also can order, there's a really cool 360 swivel phone mount stand that clamps onto surfaces on the TikTok store. Like, I got this chest mount, and I'm seriously considering getting that too, for when I'm making videos inside the van, when I'm living in it. But I mean, I think this is the best view for like building or doing any kind of work like this, because it gives like a first person perspective of what I'm doing, which, you know, the third person view is nice, but you're not really seeing every little thing of what's being done. I mean, right now I'm just staining, I'm not doing anything crazy, but it would have been nice to have this phone mount when I was doing like actual shit, like construction shit. It would have been nice to film and record like those first person views, but it's all right. Look how this walnut's turning out though. Look at that. You guys see that? Look at the wood patterns right here. Look how those are darkening with the epoxy on there. Like all of these grains. Oh, hold on, I gotta tighten this. Oh my God, dude. Bear with me. There we go. That's starting to really come out nice. And I figured out the last time I did this, a little goes a long way. A little definitely goes a long way with this. Because I had a lot of excess dripping over the edges that I have to now sand down. Alright, hold on, I'll read comments in a second here. I'm going to let this settle for a second so I can read comments, and I'm going to give it 10 minutes. I just applied it to the entire thing, one coat. Let's see what it looks like in 10 minutes. Like I did 2 coats on the desk, but I don't really know if it's even going to need 2 coats, because the whole point of it is just to give it some gloss and seal the stainer in, and then waterproof the surface. This is like all I'm trying to do. Alright, go outside real quick. Bro, this stool right here looks small, but it's not. It's actually very tall. Look how tall it is on the desk. I was thinking about buying one of these for in the van to have like a second seating option because it folds away. But now, no. The gaming chair is going to sit much lower than this, because the gaming chair goes down to about like right there. It goes low. Oh gosh. I'll go outside real quick. Alright, read comments. Feels so much better to stand up. Alright, let me scroll up here. I didn't realize we had this many people watching a staining stream, but I appreciate you all for being here. Usually these are like the low hangout streams, just because it's literally you're just painting something onto the surface. But then again, maybe people want to see what the van looks like after this last weekend. And this desk here, let me turn my flashlight on. This desk really came out nice. I wasn't doing a lot of talking while I was working on it because I was kind of focused on getting all my cuts right. But remember I was talking about, I said I was going to do like sheet plywood or whatever, the same stuff I used to make the bed. I don't think it would have looked, it would not have come out the way that I wanted it to. Like in my mind, I had like pictures, but the type of wood that it is, it would have just looked like a flat surface with no anything on it really other than just staining it. And I'm sure you all remember I stained one of those sheets. It's over here, I think, unless I used it. I don't think I used it, did I? Yeah, it's right here. So you guys see how that stain came out on this? Like it looks all right, you know, it's stained or whatever. Looks more like just a plain cabinet. And you know, after looking at it, plus I didn't have enough, like it's not wide enough to do the cuts that I needed to put on the front of this desk. Like I needed it to go further than I can cut it. So I was gonna have to wait till Thursday. And then I got to thinking and I was like, well, I have all this extra paneling because originally this paneling that I stained last week was meant to go up on the ceiling. But this was the 8-foot paneling, and they have a 10-foot one as well. But the 8-foot paneling was too short to reach from there all the way to the very end. Like it stopped about right before that last wood beam that I have past the fan. So I was like, well, that's not going to work. And, you know, I don't really have much more wall in here to cover with it. Because, I mean, look, I pretty much already started putting in all this paneling. I started on the window, and the only spot or wall left to really do is this one, and these are just smaller cuts, which I'll probably only need like 3 more pieces for that, or 2 pieces even. So I was like, oh, I got to get 10-foot paneling this week to do the roof. So I ended up using what I had. I had like 8 pieces to do the front of the desk and the sides of the desk. They came out really nice. But what I like about it the most is, you know, it's got like the lines in it and it still has the wood grains and the stain matches with the desk. And it's the first thing you see when you open the doors of the van. That's why I wanted to make sure I got all the trim pieces cut. Now, I did leave about a 1/4 inch of a gap down here, and I'll let you guys know, like when I'm done with the van, there's going to be like small little things that I'm going to do to tweak the van to make it look even better. And one of those things that I'm going to do is I'm going to build a wood platform that slides up in here, and then it comes straight down and it covers this black. I'm going to like leave the black, right? But I'm going to drill through it into the van, and I'm essentially going to make a wood step that fits custom right into this area here that will tie in with the floors and then the desk and all that. And then because I have to buy another box of laminate flooring just to do that one spot right there, because they don't sell it individually. So since I have to buy a whole box, I figured I could just use the laminate either here or not use it. Maybe the wood will look good by itself because it's going to be stained. It's going to match this, but I'm going to get rid of this plastic by covering it basically. And before I do that, I'm going to repaint the front trim here, the white along with the doors. When I paint the doors, I'm going to paint that. So I think having like a wood step when you're stepping into the van will make it look really nice. It'll connect everything together. Because I'm really trying to do away with when you're looking in here that you feel like you're in a van. I want it to feel more like you're in a cabin, which you will, because everything's going to be covered with wood except for the front cab, of course. But I'm going to have a black privacy curtain that shuts and sections it off. There's not really much left other than like small projects, basically, you know, like smaller things. Each thing's like a small thing. There's like not anything major left to do. I've already done everything of major. I guess you could say like the last major thing I had to do, which isn't really major, is I got to cut a 4.5-inch hole into the side of the van to hook up my air conditioning unit to, so I can have exhaust coming out. But other than that, I mean, like, that's not even a big deal. So I'll show you guys this real quick too. Just gotta crouch. It's like awkward having this on my chest while trying to crouch because fuck, I just put my hand on this countertop here. Fuck. Oops, wrong one. Hold on 1 second. I put my hand right on this thing as I was getting in. Alright, anyways. So this spot right here is where the air conditioning's going to be. And the AC in it, you all seen it. I posted a video about it. It's going to sit up about as high as the desk is, which is cool because it's a surface. And the buttons are all right here on the top. And then the exhaust is just going to feed right out the back of it, straight out the wall. So the exhaust duct isn't really going to have to go far from the air conditioning unit. It's out there. And here's another cool thing about doing it right here and then leaving a kind of a gap right there, is there's a hose that hooks up in the back of the AC unit that I can coil up and only use it when I have to drain the AC unit. There's a pan inside that occasionally you do have to drain from the condensation. So you just hook it up and then just throw the hose right out the door and let it drain. It takes 2 seconds to drain it. It's not a lot of water. So that's going right here. That's why I specifically left this open, and I made a square basically. And once I got it in there, what I'm planning on doing is going from either this piece or this piece, another L-shaped piece of wood that goes right up into the bed, and it's going to hold that AC unit from being able to roll backwards or forwards. It's going to lock it into place. So that's going to be pretty cool. I did away with the traditional roof AC unit because those things are freaking expensive. And also, I don't have the room on my roof to even put one in because they're all huge. I don't know if you all seen what a RV air conditioning unit looks like, but they're humongous. Even the smaller ones are still big. It's about a 16-inch to 18-inch hole. And you all see my roof with the solar panels on it. Like if I did one less solar panel, I could have fit it, but not with everything that's up there now. So basically what the plan is once I get the roof topper put in here in the future, then I'll get a roof AC in it, because those things come custom with the place to put it in. And by that time, you know, I would have been living in here for a while, and you know, I have the funds to really start investing and stuff like that. But you know, the roof will be a lot taller, and those things come with like a custom solar panel mount for 2 solar panels, and it cleans those up. They're able to sit closer together because they're not bracketed in from the base into the ceiling, so they just kind of get mounted on top of that ceiling rack, and then that leaves plenty of space up there. But I will say the TikTok shop really came in clutch with that AC in it. I've been using it every single night in the RV. I haven't had to a single time run the big AC unit in the RV, which requires propane, because the one that I have actually keeps it so cold to where I have to turn it off in the morning before I get out of bed because it's too cold. So let me ask you all this. You all are in chat. What do you guys think I should do at the front of this desk? Because I did want to do kind of like something on the front of it. I don't know. I could do hooks on it. Originally I was going to do a door, but I'm like, it's kind of pointless because look at that hole that I have right there. Even though the AC unit's going to kind of be there, I'll still have that hole to run wires. But what do you think I should do on the front? Should I do hooks that I can hang stuff that I need for outside? In my mind, I was thinking this little space right here in the step, maybe I could put my stuff that I use to grill outside. You know, I can do like I could do like a shelf mount in this that flips up. I could do a table that flips out when the door's open. I do know what I'm doing here. So on the end of this desk, I'm going to have two, I have them in my Amazon cart right now actually, so I could put them in. They're shoe holders. So I have two, one to go here and then one to go down here. And basically like the two shoes that I wear the most, so probably my Crocs and my Vans, you just put them in here. Because I plan on, you know, when I'm living in here, I'm going to take my shoes off at the door when I get in. And you just stick them right there and it holds your shoes there. So I figured that was a good place to put that, and then a hook maybe over here or something, or in the front for Valentina's leash right by the door here. What do you guys think? Need indoor Crocs. Well, yeah, for sure. I definitely need to buy a new pair of Crocs when I get done building this van. These things. These are my work Crocs. I wear these at work. But I still need to get a new pair of Crocs. You're definitely right about that. Yeah, I don't know. Like, originally I was like, oh, I could probably do my stencil art on the front of this. I could just do the mountains. Or, here's another idea. This could be the place where I put all my stickers of all the places I go. Because remember, you know, I was going to collect stickers places I go. Maybe this would be the best place to put my stickers, my travel stickers that I collect. You know, you open the door, you see it. A live, laugh, love sign. Oh gosh. We actually have one of those in the garage that she's not using. I bet you she would sell it to me. No, I wouldn't put that in here. No, but Amazon does have some really awesome like camper decorations. So there's two pillows I'm gonna buy, like just show pillows to put on the bed. When I make my bed in the morning, it'll look really nice with them on there. But there's I forget what one of them says, but there's like a picture of a camper van on one, and it says home is where the something is, something to do with van life. I'll have to look again. But then there's a kitchen towel, because I am going to do a little loop on the front, in front of the kitchen, for like a kitchen towel to dry my hands on or dry dishes with. But there's a camper van matching kitchen towel. There's two like couch style pillows, and then there's a doormat. I was thinking about doing like a doormat long ways right in here. You know, when you come in, you can kick your feet off on that. But and then for like the kitchen area, there's just some really cool items. Like there's a magnetic spice rack holder that goes on the wall, and basically you put your spices in the jars and they just go straight onto the wall. Like there's a magnetic strip you screw into the wall and they just hold it. But I'm also considering putting shelving over the kitchen counter on the very top roof. It just depends what the roof panels look like in here, how much room I'll end up having with those. Storage is going to kind of be an issue in here because it is a very small van. Like, I'm going to have to substantially downsize everything I have as to what's important, what's not, what do I use every day. On top of that, I'm going to end up accumulating camera equipment for filming, videos and content. I'm going to end up getting, that's why I want to get the mini DJI drone, the Mini 4 Pro or whatever, because it's small. Comes in a little tiny case. You can conceal it a little bit easier than like a massive drone. There's just like, I have more storage space back here, but look how much room the water tank took up. This is a 30-gallon tank. Now remember, I could always downsize the water tank if I, when I'm living in here for a couple months, if I'm like, I don't really go through 30 gallons of water that quickly, I can totally cut it down to like 15 gallons and get a different tank. I could go with a 15-gallon tank. It'll be lighter and take up less room. There's not really a way to measure how much water you put into there. There's no way to really see, like, how much more you can put in. But I will say, this adds a lot of weight. If you think about it like this, a full tank of gas in this van is only 26 gallons. That is a 30-gallon tank. So imagine I fill my van up twice with gas plus another 4 or 5 gallons. That's a lot extra added weight, plus all the wood that's in here. So little things like that matter. But like I said, I don't know until I try. So right now I went with the biggest one that I possibly could get in that style. And I think for now anyways, it'll work. Because I have a dog. That's why I figured I need a lot of water. Because I don't really want a bunch of water jugs in here. Like, that's going to be run through the sink, and there's going to be a filter that it runs through the water pump, and then when it comes out of the sink faucet, it's going to be purified water. And that's what I'll be giving Valentina. And I'll probably, if I want to drink water, I'll probably just do bottled water, but I'm not going to do like gallon jugs or anything like that. That's why I got that. I wanted to eliminate, like having a bunch of loose gallon jugs in here. But we'll see. Like I said, I have one of the biggest bladder bag tanks that they make. And it's in there. I've been driving in this van now for a couple of days. And this thing has not moved. It's stayed in the same place. I thought maybe it might try and slide out a little bit, but it hasn't. But I can actually even add, I'm thinking about adding like a halfway up lip, right here, that comes up to about this high, to where I could still access it and fill it up, but to enclose that. When I was thinking about it, I was like, oh, you know what, I don't have to go all the way, because if I go all the way, I can't reach my arm in there to fill it up. But if I go like maybe this high, just in case, maybe, I'm driving some really steep terrain and it slides back on me. I don't know. But it's not going to hurt anything, because the type of plumbing I'm going with is that PEX stuff, and it's I'm going to leave a lot of slack around that area just in case it moves, so it doesn't pull anything out. So I think that'll end up working pretty good. But yeah, that kitchen sink is going to come down 9 inches. So good thing I went taller with that cabinet. They did have a 7-inch sink, or a 7-inch deep sink, but I've seen the diagrams of that with like the example pictures of like dishes in the sink, and it didn't feel like it went deep enough, I think 9 inches is standard. It's about 13 inches wide, and I'd like to say 15 inches long. But if I have issues with length, right, you know, going long ways, I'll just put it in sideways. Because the spigot, the way the spigot comes up, it doesn't really matter. So if it doesn't fit long ways, which it might not, I may not have enough space, I'll just go long ways with it. Because I know 13 inches will definitely fit. So that will be cool. Let's see how this is turning out. See if I got my flashlight on so I can get a good look at this. Oh yeah, look at that. Look how nice that's coming out. I mean, this spot right here is where the wood's getting cut out for the sink. But down here is going to be left alone. Yeah, look at that. Look at that shine. Look how much nicer this walnut stain came out with that epoxy. That looks really nice. I don't think I do need any more. I think that's good. That's about what I want it to be. I think it's not going to dry any differently when it is dry. It's going to look exactly the way it looks right now. I'll have to see what it looks like during daytime, but I mean, I got my flashlight on it. That is a hell of a lot more shinier than it was before I put it on there. I don't know if you can see it in the camera the same way. But if I were to add another layer, what ends up happening is what happened with the desk, and I'll show you guys. And I don't like it. The desk ended up looking a little too wet of a finish. Like it's obviously been dry now for, you know, a week almost, but I don't like it to be that glossy. I'm fine with the desk being how it is right now, but I'm saying I don't want my kitchen countertops to be that glossy. And then also, I put too much and it ended up dripping off the side, and no matter how, you guys seen me, no matter how many times I go with the brush and try and clear it off, it just kept coming because I put too much on. So now what I got to do is I got to get some sandpaper this week, and I just got to sand it down and get the wax off of there. Like right here, here's some dried up wax on the edges, which I'm not as pessimistic about the desk because it's a freaking desk. It's not even a big desk, you know. But the kitchen countertops is just kind of like, I don't know what it is. Like, this is where I'm going to be cooking at. When I'm sitting at my desk, I'm not really actually looking at my desk, but when I'm cooking, I'm actually like looking at the counter. So I think that is fine just how that is. So another thing too, real quick. So you all see that piece of wood paneling that I cut to put on the front trim of this? Or no, you can see it like that front piece. Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave that as like a support beam, but I'm going to drill into that and end up putting a different kind of paneling like this in front of it that goes all the way across. And then that same type of paneling, I'm just going to come down with it. And then basically, I think what I'm going to do is take the jigsaw and just cut the holes where I want the doorways to be. And then just put the doors on the rollers in front of that on the track. Have the doors open in front of those holes and close in front of them. Because I think if I enclose that with paneling, it will look really nice. It'll look a lot nicer than I think just going with just the flat panel wood, making it look more like just like a standard cabinet is the best way to describe it. Like I did one on that side. I did the just plain piece of wood that I stained. But I could even go on top of that with paneling all the way down. So, which by the way, I'm glad I didn't do it yet, but I'm not closing that off until I install the sink and I put all the plumbing in. Honestly, it worked out this weekend that I ran out of material because it made me think of like alternate solutions and then what else I could do. Had I enclosed that this weekend, it would have been 100 times more difficult and complicated to put in the sink and then try and run the plumbing and all that stuff. Like right now, it's completely wide open. I can do whatever I want. And I'm thinking this coming weekend, what I'm going to end up doing is in that very far end, like by where the water tank is, I'm going to build some shelving in there. No, I am going to do the trim piece this weekend. I'm going to stain a piece of paneling and put the panel where the trim is because I have to do that. But in terms of closing that off, we got to wait till we get that sink. Gerald, by the way, is going to put the sink in for me. I don't trust myself well enough. Like, I'm good at using a jigsaw now, but I'm not good at just going straight into a flat surface with a nice clean hole. And we're going to have to, like, drill straight into the wood, not from the edges, but in the middle of it. I don't know how to do that. I mean, I could figure it out, but it's going to end up looking like shit. So, that thing is completely sealed to that foundation, and if I mess that up, it's gonna really suck because I'm gonna have to take the whole thing apart just to get the countertop off to replace it. So anyways, Gerald's gonna do that. So that's one of the reasons why I'm glad I didn't close that off yet, because right now there's plenty of room to be able to work in there, and with that closed off, you're kind of, you know, you're trying to reach your hand up under there and bumping into everything. I also decided against doing backsplash on the back wall in front of the sink, and main reason being is because I already put waterproof sealant on those panels on that back wall. So that paneling back there is already waterproof, and when we finish the sink, I'm going to use caulking, clear caulk, and go the seam of the counter against the paneling to keep anything from dripping underneath. But I just really like how that paneling looks, and I don't want to put anything to obstruct it, especially in such a small space. Like, I feel like it would just make it look stupid. So we'll see. Like I said, Lowe's has a lot of really unique panel like this. Like, Home Depot really only has one kind, and it's this. Just they have different lengths of this. But Lowe's has like different designs in the paneling. They just have like a flat surface. They got a barn style wood paneling, and it's all tongue and groove. And that tongue and groove is what kind of, you know, you pop them in together, but it makes it look nice and flush. So yeah, sticking with this, but getting a different style for that, I think will look awesome. I haven't been wrong yet. I don't think I've been wrong yet with how it's turning out. You know, everything that I build in here ends up looking pretty nice. So I'm just going to trust my instincts and hope for the best, you know. Look at the comments. God had a bigger plan. Yeah. No, things always work out. I mean, like, I'll show you guys. I'm pretty much almost out of everything, because this is where I keep all my materials. And as you can see, in terms of 2x4, that is the longest piece of 2x4 I have left. And just a week ago, this whole entire thing was completely full of 2x3s, 2x2s, 1x1s, and 2x4s. And I had... the only thing I really have is this sheet of wood right here, which was cut too narrow. Like, I had them cut it in half for me to fit it in the van a little bit easier, thinking like, oh, I won't need it wider than this, and I ended up being 3 inches wrong. So I got 2 pieces of that wood that's skinny. I got all this pegboard I got from work that I'm not going to end up using, and then I got a gigantic over here. I've got this gigantic untreated whatever regular plywood that you would use to cover your house window in a hurricane. And then the only wall paneling I have left is this cut piece and then the full 8-foot piece, which I'm planning on using. I'm going to try and use these two pieces here on the rest of that wall in the back, but I'll probably end up having to, you know, buy an extra piece just because the cuts I need for this wall are so specific, and basically when you cut them, you end up having a lot of odd cut size pieces left over like this that you just can't really use, other than like finishing the trim on the window over here. That's what I'm going to use these for. But other than that, once that's done, I mean, that's pretty much, I'll have like a bunch of scrap wood that I'm not going to use. So yeah, I got to get 10-foot pieces of paneling for the roof. I'm going to just keep it the same style as the wall paneling. However, I might stain it a different color, because then if I stained it the same gun stock color, it would go from wall to wall. The whole van would just look the same, you know. There wouldn't be any depth to the ceiling. It would just, I want to make things like have different, what's the word I'm looking for? Like I wanted that like character, you know, like more than just one dimension. I'm thinking about sticking with like a darker stain for the ceiling. Well, I'm even willing to go with that walnut that I used on the countertops, but I do want to, I want that walnut countertop in the kitchen to just be unique and be the only thing in there like that. I feel like if I do the whole ceiling like that, then, you know, the kitchen countertop may not stand out as much. But I'll figure out a nice color. I'll figure out a nice color for the ceiling. The Home Depot down in Pennsylvania has a much wider selection of stains than the ones in New York, just because there's certain laws against certain oil-based stainer in New York, and PA they're legal. So when I go down there next week, I'll go ahead and grab a I gotta set my phone down for a second. Alright, so what I gotta do right now, so this time I'm going to rinse this off. I didn't rinse this one off last time because my brain was like, oh, I probably shouldn't mix water with the epoxy, and then joke's on me, now this paintbrush is useless because it's completely like clumped together and done. And when this dries, this one would end up being the same way. So I'm going to try and go rinse this out in the house. But I have a lot of epoxy left here. A lot of I barely used any of this, actually. Because I don't really have many surfaces in here, you know. I don't need a lot. However, I am considering using it on this. At least the front of this and the side of this. Just because this is facing the doorway. And, you know, I could be gaming somewhere and have my doors open and all of a sudden it just starts downpouring rain. Or I'm trying to get into my van and it's raining and this all gets wet. So I'm thinking like it might be a good idea to, you know, seal this off. But my only concern with doing this is because these are now screwed in, gravity's just got to kind of, you know, drip the stain. The stain's not really going to settle as well on this. And I'm afraid it's going to end up looking blotchy and stupid with the wax drops coming down. That's my only concern. And I could just spray it. Like, I could do this. I don't know, maybe I'll try the spray first. We'll try the spray first. See how it looks. I am worried about if I apply that thicker epoxy that I have, that it's thick and it's heavy, so it would end up dripping down. No, that's not it. Where did I put that? There was a little box right here, and no, it's not. Everything's always moved around. Oh, here it is. No, that's rust stuff. Oh, I forgot about these. I've got 2 tubes here of unopened tubes of liquid nails, and I didn't even use this. Because I know this stuff's not as strong as the marine sealant, so I haven't used it on anything serious, but I totally forgot about that. Oh, here it is. Polyurethane spray. This stuff. Maybe I'll spray the desk down now with it, or the front of the desk. See how it looks in the morning. At least this isn't going to drip down and look stupid, you know. But basically, I just want to waterproof this. So let's do this. Let's put the camera or the flashlight there. Come on. But so let me ask you guys, before I do this, let me ask you guys an honest question. Did half of you even think I was going to get this far with the van build, or give up after the first couple weeks, or give up when my van broke down? Did you all think I was going to make it this far? I don't know, let me know. Because now it's inevitable I'll be done with it and living out of it pretty soon. Alright, I gotta move this phone real quick. I'm not gonna get mad at anyone for being honest about it. If you think I was capable of doing this and finishing it, and with it actually looking, you know, like I didn't go to Dollar General and buy a bunch of plastic shelving. I kind of figure people probably thought I was going to do that. Like go buy some cheap furniture, like a dresser or something, and just throw it in here, not bolt it to the ground. You know, get like a cheap cot or something to sleep on that folds out with a sleeping bag, and some Tupperware containers for storage. Like I bet you people probably thought that's what I was going to do. That I wasn't going to go this in depth with it and literally just build everything and make it look good. BS said yes. You thought I was going to give up halfway through? Well, you know what I could use, Sam's Clay, you know what I could use the liquid nails for is when I was talking about applying like a clear caulking on the seam of the kitchen countertop where the wall meets to seal that. I think the liquid nails are clear, right? Or is it white? Does it come out white? See, I want to get a clear caulking that will seal that. But if it's clear, I'll use it for that, because not only will it seal it, but it will, you know, add like a little bit of an adhesive. Not that I need it. I don't really need it. Yeah, I thought when the van broke down, you would just be frustrated with it and stop. Yeah, well, I would say this. At the point when the van was in the shop for 3 weeks, at that point I was already like financially heavily invested into it, so it would have been stupid to quit. It would have been a dumb idea to quit at that point, because I already sunk, you know, a couple $1,000s into this thing. But that's the other thing too, you know, I'm sure the van will have its moments and have to go to the shop to get something fixed, or, you know, it might break down. It's an old van. The good thing is you can always get something fixed, you know. Even, I'm going to knock on wood, even something as serious as if like the transmission went, yeah, that's probably the most expensive fix I could think of for this van, and at that would run me around $4 grand to have done. But if it happened and I crossed that bridge when I came to it, I would most certainly pay to replace the transmission in this van. And I'll tell you guys why. Because here's one thing. I'm putting everything I have into this van. And I'm now committed to this van. Like, I'm committed to it. Like, no matter how bad the situation might be, I'm committed. Until a mechanic says we can't fix it, there's nothing we can do for you, go find another vehicle. Which is rare, because anything can be fixed or replaced. You can even get a new engine for these things easily. These vans are sitting at junkyards as we speak. I'm just saying, like, even if something major happened, I would pay to have it fixed, because at this point I really like this van a lot. I'm gonna like it even more when I get a roof topper on it. But for now, I'm excited. This is something that I've wanted to do now for years, full time. Like, I've always wanted to do van life and travel on the road and have the freedom to be able to do whatever I wanted to do for a very long time. And have a place to call home where, you know, all of my belongings, my whole life is in here. And I know that I can go anywhere with it and it's not going to go anywhere. Like, just that sense of security on top of it. Like, I would give anything for this van to keep it, you know, operational. And I get a lot of motivation from a channel called Truck House Life. That guy has sunk over $50,000 into an old 1996 Ford extended cab 350 Power Stroke diesel. $50,000 in the last 8 years he's sunk into that thing. Constant repairs. That thing constantly breaks down. I mean, you can't find a video of his in the last 2 years that he doesn't have issues with it. But it's motivating to watch, because he just continues to do stuff to it and tweak it, and it's back on the road, you know. I mean, he just put a new engine in it, and it was having trouble after the new engine, which is crazy. But you got to think, like, everything ages, everything has issues. Even newer cars, and newer cars are a lot more complicated to fix and more expensive to fix nowadays than something like this. So as a beginner van lifer, I really picked a really good vehicle to go on the road with and to, you know, practice and learn how to become my own mechanic in a lot of situations. Learning those skills on a vehicle like this is a lot easier than trying to learn those skills on something like a Mercedes Sprinter van. Think about that. Like, if I had a Mercedes Sprinter van and I broke down, there are far less places that are willing to work on a Mercedes engine than a GM engine. GM engines, like, when you're traveling, 9 times out of 10 you'll find a mechanic around you that knows how these vans work. Mercedes, maybe, because those, you know, those I almost said Dodge. Those Sprinter vans used to be Dodge. Like, Dodge used to make the Dodge Sprinter vans, and Mercedes bought them out. But still similar engines, but it's still Mercedes. And they're going to charge you an arm and a leg to work on your vehicle because it's a Mercedes. This is just an old beat up GMC. This thing is not anything special on the outside. I mean, look how beat up this thing is. Look, I gotta fix all this eventually. But more importantly, look what it's starting to look like on the inside. I mean, you can't beat what this is gonna end up looking like when it's done. Remember I told you all I wanted to make it as close to a luxury camper van as I possibly could? Well, I'm about 3/4 of the way there. And on a budget, like, compared to what people pay for, you know, building out those expensive vans. I wouldn't say a budget. I'm still dropping thousands of dollars into this, but In the grander scheme of things, most people spend 20 to 25,000 on a build. But look at this. Look what I added today. What's that say? Van House Life. So now when people see my van on the road, they'll know that, you know, this van is my home. If I'm out camping somewhere, a cop drives by, you know, you could legally stay there. They'll be less suspicious because they'll be like, oh, it's a van lifer. It's bigger than Matsy's room. I've never seen what his room looked like, but I'm almost willing to bet that my van's probably smaller than his room. Because at least he could probably stand up in this room. Or stand up straight anyways. You could stand up in here, but you got a hunch. Oh yes. We are very close to being done. The only things really left to do is like touch up stuff. So see this gap right here? In between the paneling, and you see how there's like 2.5 inches in between here. That's another special thing I got to get Gerald to do for me, is cut a piece of paneling like this to match the shape of this door jamb here to cover that hole. But before I do, I'm going to stuff that with even more of that cotton candy insulation now that I got those panels up. So that thing is going to be like 4.5 to 5 inches thick of insulation on that wall. That's going to be crazy. So he's also going to do another cut like that for me over by the window, where you can see a gap behind the wall paneling to where the window is. You guys see that hole right there? You just see the insulation back there. Gerald's going to do me a cut right there. See, stuff like that, I could probably do it, but I would end up going through several pieces of paneling to get it right. Like, look at all this scrap paneling on the ground from the other day just doing the desk. I ended up wasting a lot because I couldn't get my measurements right and cuts right, because I'm not, you know, I'm not as skilled. I'm a beginner. Gerald would just come in with his little measuring compass thing and fucking cut that thing in 2 seconds. But I will say I've learned a lot, you know, doing this. Before this, the only thing I've ever built was a bar. Just a straightforward bar, which I got my measurements from Google. This is like a very specific build. Like, this is like, I'm almost willing to say, to get this to look how you want it to look, this is like an advanced like craftsmanship you have to have and skills to completely finish and make it look good in a van, because the angles, the sizes of the surfaces, and all of that. And then on top of it, you have to, like, essentially, you can't just do a straightforward structure like you would in your house. You got to like triple secure everything, because when you're driving down the road at 65 miles per hour on the highway and you hit potholes and stuff, essentially you got to think like the inside of the van's going through a constant 7.9 magnitude earthquake at all times, right? So like the desk, the kitchen counter, the bed, all of that stuff has to be able to withstand constant jerking, constant bumps in the road without breaking. And I reinforced all of my furniture in here more than you would need to, and if you're just building something for your house, it's not going to get moved. And I did that on beginner level instincts, and that's pretty good. But that's what I mean, like, you almost need like an advanced skill set when you're doing something like this, because you have to be able to think you know, into the future, like, hey, if I build this, is this not only going to be able to withstand my weight when I lay on it, but is it going to be able to withstand my weight plus a constant earthquake when the vehicle is moving? And as you can see, it hasn't fallen apart or broken on me at all. All right, let me read your comments. Did your sink come in, or did... No, I didn't get the sink yet because I wasn't done building that. And, you know, I ordered a bunch of stuff off of Amazon the last couple of weeks and didn't have the money to get it yet. And now that I got the battery on the way, the battery should be here by... I keep saying battery. It's not just a battery. It's a solar power generator. Capable of 3,600 watts, and it's got, we're just going to round it up, 1,500 watt hours, which is incredible. But anyways, I got an $1,100 battery ordered. It's battery slash generator. I should get that by Monday or sooner, and I think I'll get it sooner because Amazon's been pretty good. So this week I get paid every Wednesday. So tomorrow night after I get paid, basically I'm going to order the sink. Can't really show you guys because I have my Amazon accounts on the phone I'm live on right now. I don't have it on my other phone, but anyways, I posted pictures of the sink. It's $209, which isn't bad. You know, I did a lot of pricing. I went to Lowe's, Home Depot, looked around. Didn't like anything I saw at Home Depot or Lowe's. Originally, I bought a faucet that I thought was going to look nice. And it ended up, after some serious thought into it, it was going to be way too tall for there. And also way too big. So I went on Amazon. They sell a lot of like sinks where it's just a sink without the faucet for $99. You can get one, and then buy the faucet for another $100. So it just made sense just to buy a sink with everything in it. And the faucet, actually, you know what? If I have it on my YouTube community post, I could pull that up on this phone. I'm not logged into my Amazon account on this phone, so let me see if I have it on here. Give me a second. I know I posted a picture of it, but the one I posted ended up not being the measurements of what I was going with. The one that I'm actually going with is a little bit smaller in width. I thought I posted pictures of it. Did I not? I posted pictures of the toilet. I know that. But I thought recently I had posted a picture of it. Of the sink. Did I not? Maybe I tried posting it and it didn't post. There's the batteries. Okay. Posted the battery I had ordered. That was 3 days ago. What the fuck? There's the water tank, okay. Could have sworn that oh, here, okay, I posted it with the water tank. Here it is. So, that's the sink. And as you can see right here, it's got this little nozzle. And it folds down, it collapses into the sink. And then this other little piece up here on the nozzle, you can see that little spigot. It twists and turns in different directions that you want it to be. And when you're not using it, that folds down into the sink. And then you have this board right here that goes over the entire sink. So then, because the sink's sunken into the counter, so it turns your countertop back into a complete counter again when you're not using the sink. There's also another thing I gotta buy to go with the sink. It's a stainless steel, it's like a track you put over the top, and you can set your dishes over it, and it drains through it into the sink if you're trying to dry your dishes. But yeah, so the sink, that's what it looks like if it's in a surface. I mean, mine's gonna be on top of the counter, not in it, like that one is necessarily, but that is a really nice sink. And the one See, this one's not the right size, though, that I posted a picture of. The one I'm getting is 15 by 13 by 9. So I'm sorry, it's 13 by 15 by 9. So the 18 is lengthwise, and then the 15 is widthwise. So the one I'm getting is actually going to be 13, which it's going to be smaller in width, and then only 15 inches full size for the length of it. And to give you guys a good example of what 14 inches looks like, if you look at my exhaust fan up there, the exhaust fan is 14 inches all the way around. So the sink is relatively going to be bigger than that. So if it doesn't fit long ways into the cat, so what I'm concerned about is it's going to just barely fit, but it's going to be too close to the edge and it'll end up looking stupid. So if I can't put it, like a normal sink, like regular like this, then we're just going to turn it sideways because it'll definitely fit long ways. And because the spigot is the way that the spigot is, I could have the spigot over here, right? And it would just fold up like this, which would still make sense. And it would just drain straight into the containers I have under the sink. So I think the sink will work out, because my only other options for a sink was the ugly ass stainless steel round sink, RV sinks, where the spigot does the exact same fucking thing where it folds in, but it's just a round, looks like a bathroom sink. And it's ugly as hell. Like at that point, you know what I could do? I could put a 5-gallon jug of water in there, get rid of the water tank in the back of the van, put 2 5-gallon blue containers of water, and raise it up to where I drill a hole in the countertop, probably the size of a baseball. And then there's an electronic motor pump that you put the hose into the drinking tank, and then you screw on top this like little black thing with a faucet that comes out, and you put batteries in it, and you push a button and it spits water out. Because that was originally, I was like, oh, I could do this very cheap. That thing's only like $20 for the pump or whatever. But it would look ghetto as hell. I'm glad I didn't do that. But if there was no sink I could buy to possibly fit in here, that was the plan. I was like, in one way or another, I'm going to have a sink. But that is crazy. I will say, though, those things are they're cool, but I wouldn't put it in my van. I actually want, let me see if I could pull it up real quick. I know I don't have it on my Amazon account, but wait a second. They're kind of funny looking, but it is a unique idea. So if you were thinking about doing a camper van and you're watching this video, just so you know, it's another cheap option. And you don't have to pay the cheapest. Put it this way, the cheapest sink I could possibly get for my van that looks good and is useful and big enough is $209. All right, let me see if I could just look it up real quick. I don't have anything saved in my cart. Oh, there it is, for $16.86. Look at that. That's what I was talking about. I could have just drilled the hole in the top, right? And just raised this, built a platform to where just this piece right here was showing out of the top of my countertop. And then just put the spigot on it. And then just take like a stainless steel bowl and drill a hole through the bowl and put the bowl in the sink and just make my own plumbing out of the stainless steel metal bowl. I mean, I totally could have rigged that up, but it would have looked ridiculous. It would have looked ridiculous because everything else will look so nice, right? Like everything else looks so nice, especially when I get the ceiling done. And then just to have like this coming out of that nice ass cabinet would look retarded. That's why I was like, I don't want to do that. Serious question, Cam. Why don't you have Amazon Prime? Oh, no, I have Amazon Prime. I didn't have it initially, but I ended up getting it. No, I got Amazon Prime right before Prime Deal. And the week before Prime Deal, they still had a bunch of fancy deals, and that's when I started ordering a bunch of stuff on Amazon. No, I have Amazon Prime. I'm going to keep it at least for until I'm done with the van. And then I'll probably cancel it because I won't use it because I can't keep buying stuff. I don't have room to put anything anywhere unless I actually need it. But it would be kind of stupid to keep Amazon Prime and pay each month for nothing. But that's cool. It's one of those subscriptions you can, it's like YouTube Premium. I like YouTube Premium. I hate fucking ads. I watch a lot of YouTube videos. For the last month, I've had to watch ads every single time I want to watch YouTube, and it sucks. But to save $16 a month and put the money towards my van, I did without YouTube Premium for a month. I'm sure most of you watch YouTube a lot. The ads fucking suck. Am I wrong? It's like every video you try and watch, you get hit with a 5-minute, or every 5 minutes you get hit with an ad. It's crazy. Like, it's worth paying the $17 a month is what I'm trying to say. But, like, I've been cutting back on expenses. I got rid of my, well, the first thing that I got rid of was my Disney Plus account. I just, like, binge watched my favorite shows and got caught up on everything and got rid of my Disney Plus account. Then I got rid of, I went a month actually without my PlayStation Premium account, or the PlayStation Plus. That's why I wasn't playing certain games, because a lot of the games that I was streaming was from PlayStation Plus or whatever. That was when I was doing a lot of Madden and MLB The Show. Just to cut money, you know, expenses. These are things that I can turn back on when I get done with the van. And I'm only a couple weeks away from being done now, so it'll be nice, you know, when I move into the van. I'll have unlimited Wi-Fi, Starlink, which I got to figure out where I'm going to mount Starlink. I haven't even... See, and so here's the thing. This is why I feel like I should just wait to do the solar panels until I get Starlink. What do you guys think? Let me know in chat. Should I wait to do the holes in the roof for the solar panel wires when I get Starlink so I can feed Starlink the wire from the satellite into the van through the same hole? Or do I do another hole in the roof separately for Starlink and have to cover that hole as well? Because I would like to do the solar panels wires so I could plug it into my brand new battery that I get. But it is a portable battery, so if I'm stationary, I could just take the solar panel wires and plug the battery in on the roof and hook it up to the solar panels up there. I could do that in the meantime. But also, I'm not really going to be using the solar panels to charge the battery. I would just plug it in here at the house like a normal person. Yeah, I'm almost like tempted. I think Starlink, though, I'm going to have to mount it to my roof racks, but I do have a roof rack right here in the middle. So I was thinking about putting it either on at the end of this roof rack on this side or the front, the very front, so it doesn't obstruct my solar panels and block the sunlight. But if I put it right here, I can run the Starlink through the same exact hole, because this is where I want to do my wires coming down from the solar panels. I want them to go down this wall right here where the panels are. I can't do it where the bed is because those panelings that are going to be on the walls, there's no space to put anything behind them because they're glued to the wall. But here, I can drill a hole in the roof and then run the wires through the roof down this wall, and then it would just feed out right where the battery systems are right there. So Starlink, if I did it in the same hole, it would come down this wall, and then it would go right into my desk here. I'm going to drill a hole in the back of the desk to feed wires through. And it would just plug right into the Starlink internet router that will be in the desk. so I can connect my PlayStation Pro up with an Ethernet cable to my internet router. Isn't that fucking awesome that I'm going to be able to actually hook up my PlayStation with an Ethernet cable in a van? Isn't that crazy? Like, you have to have legitimate internet to be able to hook up an Ethernet cable. That's just fascinating to me. I know it's satellite internet, but still, like, to have the option to just, because nothing's better than an Ethernet cable. I'm sorry. I don't care internet speeds, how good your internet speeds are. I learned the hard way with Spectrum. If that device isn't capable of pulling certain speeds, you're stuck. But an Ethernet cable, that's just exciting to me. All right, let me read some comments. Hold on. Okay, why is this sideways? So what did you guys think? I pay more than $17 for YouTube Premium. Do you really? I thought it was around $17. I could be wrong on the price. I thought it was like $16.99 or something like that. Maybe it depends what state you're in. I have YouTube Music Family. I don't have YouTube Premium. Huh. Yeah, I always just had Premium. I just didn't... Well, my Premium also came with music as well. So I don't know. I was able to share it. Well, the same account, but I was able to log in on the same account on 2 or 3 devices and access it at the same time, so... Live with your mom and dad. Bro, I can never live with my... Well, I wouldn't live with my dad, but I wouldn't live with my mom. I love my mom, but I just wouldn't be able to live with my mom. Bro, my mom didn't even want me doing this. Like, she hated that I did predator catching first, and then when I told her I was doing this, she was like, not happy about it, but now it's fine because she's seen all the progress that's coming along with it, and I think she realizes now that this is actually going to be a livable situation. Listen, the only kryptonite I have with this van is I can't stand up all the way. That's literally the only flaw with living in this van is I can't stand up inside the van. But look what I'm doing right now. I'm hanging out outside. I'm going to get plenty of vitamin D from the sun. It'll push me to go outdoors more and be active. I'll lose a lot of weight. I'll get in better shape. Actually, I've already been losing a lot of weight, but I'll lose even more weight when I'm going mountain biking or hiking a lot of times. Because that's the only way that you can live full time with a German Shepherd in the van is if you're willing to go out and be active every single day. Even days you got to work. At least go for an hour to 2 hour long walk or hike. And that's only temporary, by the way. I am going to do a ceiling topper in here. Just further down the road. Those are kind of expensive. It's like $3,000 to $4,000, depending what bells and whistles I want them to put in it. Or, you guys do realize, like, if I do stumble upon the junkyard somewhere that has an old cargo van like this, it could be a Chevy, it could be a Ford, it could be a GMC, it doesn't matter. They're all the same body style, especially when it comes to the roofs. If I ever come across at a junkyard a van where they have a roof topper and the only thing that I have to do is cut it off of the van, it is not hard to install a roof topper. It really is not. Because all you have to do is when you pull the roof topper off of that other vehicle, you sand down the edges of that. You get it to where it's like basically back to factory. And then you apply probably a more heavier duty like roof sealant on the edges. Well, before that, you cut this roof off of this van like a tin can. You just slice it all the way around the edges to the front. You pop this roof out like we did for the exhaust fan. And then you take that sealant and the edges of that roof topper, and it's like a 4-person job. Like, I would have to get 3 of my friends to help me. But anyways, you lower it onto the roof evenly from each corner. You press down on it, and then you drill into the van on the edges all the way around. There's like special bolts that you use or whatever, and what it does is it presses in that sealant that you got from the fiberglass roof topper into the metal frame of the roof of the van, and then boom, roof topper, no leaks. That's it. And there's a place in California that I was planning on taking my van to when I headed out west that does those, and it only takes them 4 hours to do it. It is a 1-day job once you have everything prepped and ready to go. But theoretically, if I find a roof topper, I could do it myself. Just like I built this whole van out. And I don't know how much a junkyard would charge me to peel a roof off of one of their vans in the junkyard, but I would presume not $3,000. With your sealant skills, no one will ever... Yeah, I have bad sealant skills. I will admit. Like, this came out horrible. But you know what? The reason this came out looking like the way that it did was because the hole that I drilled to put this in was slightly bigger than where the screws go into. So as like 2 of the screws went in properly, but because the hole is slightly, just like a hair too big, this screw here would not go all the way through without coming out the edge of the hole. So I ended up panicking and going crazy with the marine sealant, right? While I got it set in there. And every time I kept pulling this out to try and get the fucking screw in, it just kept smearing sealant everywhere. But then I went over it, and at that point it looked fucked up, so I just went crazy with the marine sealant, outside and inside. But guess what? No leak. That's all I cared about. This is electrical right here, so going into electrical, so I didn't want any leaks. But look at the rest of the van. The whole van on the outside looks rough, so it doesn't really matter. At least the window came out good. The window we put in came out really good. But that's because I had Gerald here helping. See what I mean? When I know I'm out of my depth, I ask for help. But look at the window. Look how clean that looks. I mean, as clean as it's going to get on this van. The paint peeling before that window went in looked worse than the window does. Oh, yeah, with the razor blade for sure. I just haven't picked at it yet because there's so much more. I basically have bigger fish to fry on the outside of the van still. Like, I got to sand this down and spray this in, and it's still not going to look, you know, like, it's going to end up looking like this. It's not going to look even. It's still going to look off, but it's going to look, I mean, that still looks better than this does. I got to do that. Oh, I forgot. I also ordered on the TikTok store. It's still in the mail. It's been in the mail for like 3 weeks now. I got some camper vinyl decal stickers for the sides of my van. It's just like some cool looking design, and it's gray and black, and they're stickers. Well, they're decal stickers, so they're heavy duty. And basically, The start of it goes over the front tire fender, and then you just go all the way down the side of the van, and then it ends kind of like right here, and it's huge. It like takes up, like the way the design is, it like curves and stuff, and it, you know what I'm talking about? It's kind of like, yeah, here's a good example. Similar, but not the same. See how the RV has like this weird looking thing on it? It's like that, and it's gray. There's a gray one and there's a black one. They're together, and it goes all the way down, so it turns my white van from looking like just a plain white van to an obvious like camper van. But immediately when you look at it, you think like camper or RV. And then it's a 2-pack, so one for that side and then one for that side. And when I get that in the mail, I'll be able to put that in. But before I put it in, I gotta touch up, some paint spots on the sides, and I gotta finish my stencil work up here as well. I'm not done with it. I just, I've been focused on other things. I'm limited on what money I can spend each week, and I've been spending money on things that I work on each week. Who's Bill? Billy. Yeah, I don't know who that is, but yeah, I mean, I heard a couple people talking about the advertising or whatever, the advertising wrapping. I will say this. In the van life community, there are so many different types of companies out there that depend on business from van lifers. I mean, we're talking companies from the batteries that you use to the water systems that you use to the solar panels that you use to the, I'm just trying to think of things off the top of my head, but to the lights that you use, like your off-roading lights that you use, to the type of suspension packages or tires that you use. There's so many different companies out there that have to do with van life that would make sense because they know you're traveling the country constantly. That probably would be willing to pay somebody to do something on their van. I haven't seen other van lifers actually do that, and I think it could be because you have a $50,000 Mercedes Sprinter van, you're not going to want to wrap it, right? And somebody that's got money like that probably doesn't even need to do that. But on this piece of shit outside looking van, I wouldn't mind letting someone pay me to vinyl wrap it for an ad. It would probably make it look better, to be honest. But I wouldn't want to do just some random ass company. I think I'd want it to have to do with van life, or maybe something inside that I use. Like, they're sponsoring that type of thing. Like, in the future, that might be something I'll consider. It would be a cool extra income. But one of my friends, not on YouTube, but one of my friends in real life, came up with this idea. Well, he didn't come up with it, but he's seen somewhere where people were starting to do kind of like a cleaning service where they'd put like local ads out for a cleaning service where they charge anywhere from $60 to $120, depending on what they're doing, to clean people's tombstones at cemeteries. Like, family members might want, their mom's tombstone pressure washed and cleaned with like chemicals so it's nice and brand new looking again. That's something I could totally do. And it's like an independent type job, so you're not working for anyone, but on the road, that might be an option. Stuff like that, little side hustles. And that would be something I could totally do, and I'll tell you why. All I'd need is a pressure washer, which I would hook up to my battery bank system in my van. And as of right now, I have a 30-gallon water tank right here, which I would just tap into the front plumbing line and run a hose line out the side of the van like this. See, I have my power right here. Eventually, I could install a hose line on this side of the wall that goes right into the water system. And that would be something I could totally do. And your clients ain't going, no. Yeah, I mean, like, what are they? No one's going to complain. The client will rest happy that their tombstone is completely nice and renewed. But I mean, if you think about it, like, if I'm already planning on traveling and doing music full time, having some remote job, and then also getting like seasonal work depending on where I'm headed to, like outdoor adventure type stuff, getting seasonal gigs at those types of places, and a fire lookout job, stuff like that. But you know, all I have to do is post an ad a couple weeks in advance on like Angie's List or Craigslist or places like that. If I know, like, say I know I'm going to Colorado Springs in a month, I would just post ads on there and be like, hey, you know, I just do this part-time. If anybody out there wants a family member's tombstone clean, hit me up. And then, you know, even if 2 people hit me up, that's extra money in your pocket, and all you're doing is going and cleaning a grave site, which probably would only take you a couple hours. As of right now, Sam's Clit, I am, yeah. I was getting a little bit concerned that I wasn't gonna, that when the van was in the shop for those 3 weeks, I was a little bit worried. I was like, oh, I don't know how long this is gonna set me back for because of the cost of the repair. But fortunately, it ended up not hurting me that bad. I've just been chipping away at my bill each week. I give, like, that's another reason why I don't have as much money now each week to buy things for the van, is because I'm chipping away at that. So I'm like paying current bills, I'm paying the repair bill, and I'm paying for stuff to buy to work on my van each week. So that's what added more time on. But no, I'll be out west before October, so I'll be good. The only downside is I'm not going to have as many months to save up money before I hit the road. But I am planning, when I move into the van, to start a remote job that's kind of just been on hold. And I'll be working, now that I won't have to drive, 2 hours to and from work each day. I'll be able to do remote work in the morning time before I go to work, and then do a little bit of work when I get off from my other job. So I'll have less time, but I'll have 2 jobs to double up on funds, over the next couple months before I head out west. I'll at least have like most of August still, and September before October. Well, I'm not supposed to start until the end of October, and I have to get there a few days before for like, kind of like a training thing or whatever, or a walk around. But it's not till the end of October, and then technically it starts the beginning of November. So my goal was to be out towards that way by the halfway through the month of October. So theoretically, I don't have to leave New York till like the beginning of October. But that's one of the perks. I'm not gonna have to live in the van for 6 months. I mean, I'll have the van, I could sleep in the van. I probably will some nights, make some videos, but I think the videos will the videos will look a lot better and be different from a different coziness of a cabin up in the sky. I think that's just as unique as living in a van. So I guess this is as good as a time as ever to announce to you all when I finish the van. I'm not going to say when, but before I head out west, Mr. Sam Clinton himself is going to come stay with me in the van. We're going to camp out together for 24 hours. And the night that we're together, we're going to go drive out in the middle of some dark, deep forest away from civilization together alone. And Sam and I are going to get flashlights and cameras, and we're going to walk the woods and try and find Bigfoot in the middle of the night. So here's my plan. I think we could fit 2 people in this van. Just for one night. It's only one night. I'm going to do a twin-size blow-up mattress just down the center of the floor that will just inflate at night. And one of us will sleep here and one of us will sleep in the bed in the back. Valentina's going to be over here. This is all of Valentina's area. She's going to have her own dog bed up by the front door here. We'll make it work, but we're not even going to be doing a lot of sleeping at night anyways. We're going to be hunting Bigfoot in the woods together. No, there's no way for us to possibly sleep in the same bed. This bed is just big enough for one person. It is not wide enough. One person and a dog maybe at the end of the bed. I know, I'm sorry, Cat Eyes. Well, Sam already said that he put that out there the other day, but no, he's gonna do his thing and make a video, probably some interview stuff, and then we're gonna do some fun activities, camping activities. Shit, I might even get a tent, because I'm gonna want a tent anyways. I might actually just buy a tent and camp outside in the tent. I'll let Sam record his videos and sleep in my van for the night, and I'll sleep in a tent outside. If we're out camping somewhere, why not? Two bodies? No, the bed is not big enough for 2 bodies stacked up. Are you guys crazy? Bro, when that mattress is in there, the mattress is going to be up to here because I'm doing like a 6-inch, 6.5 to 7-inch mattress, and the ceiling panels are actually going to be down another inch from where the ceiling is now. There's no way. One person's going to have trouble just not hitting your head getting out of bed into the roof. Listen, I'm trading comfort for less space. It's worth it, though. Like, to get a good night's sleep in a comfortable bed is worth not being able to sit up in bed. That's what the gaming chair's for. Now, Sam and I have always pretty much gotten along really well. I've had the privilege of hanging out with Sam numerous times in real life. He's a good dude. But yeah, that will be, I'd like to say we'll probably do that about a month after I've been living in the van full time. So here's what I'm doing, and I think it's very smart I'm doing it this way. My dog is going to stay here at this place for the first month I live in the van. However, on the weekends, I'm going to pick Valentina up and take her with me when I do my weekend mini trips, my 2-day trips. But during the week, during the dead, basically right now it's summertime, right? The hottest month is this month and next month. When I move into the van, it's going to be August, and for that last summer month, Valentina is going to be still staying here just to make sure that the AC unit can keep up during the daytime. Like, I'm still going to run my AC unit when I'm at work during the day and come out and periodically check it without her in here, just to make sure it's safe and make sure that the temperature is below 70 or around 72 degrees at least. And I want to stay in the van alone for a month just to make sure there's enough space. If I need to change anything, then I can come back here and do that. Because it will be a lot harder to make, big changes if I wanted to living on the road. So when Valentina comes to stay in the van, everything will be done. I'll be happy with how everything is. Any kind of changes I got to make, I don't have to worry about having a dog in here. So the first month when I move into it, it's just going to be me, except for the weekends. I'll have Valentina. And then when Valentina moves into the van, it'll be fall time, or around fall time, end of summer. It'll be a lot cooler. It'll be a lot easier to keep the van a comfortable temperature without overextending my battery system. That AC unit is a really powerful AC unit because it's not meant for a camper van. It's a portable unit, like a window unit almost. It's not a 12-volt AC unit, so you just got to make sure it works right. I'm trying to be responsible. Does she know about it? Of course she does. Now, Valentina fucking loves the cats and loves all the attention she gets with everybody, so she won't care any which way. I'm gone during the daytime anyways, 5 days out of the week. That's the thing. Like, she's left here I'm gone for a total of 11 hours a day at work, and the cool thing about it is she comes home from work before I do, like hours before, so she lets her out and keeps her company so she's not by herself all day. So, but when I'm in the van with her full time, obviously I'm only going to be at a regular job for a couple of months anyways, once I move into the van. So when I'm on the road, I'll be with her all the time pretty much. Trying to be a responsible pet owner here. The engine is doing really well. I have no complaints. Yeah, the engine's doing well. The only other thing that I think I need to have done is the evap system still having issues with the high idle. Like, it was fine for like a week, but they didn't really work on the evap system. The only thing that they changed was the evap solenoid vacuum, which is part of the engine and all that stuff. And I think once that settled in, it like the main issue or whatever wasn't solved. So basically, once I finish the van, I'm just gonna schedule an appointment and they're gonna fix it for me that day is the plan. Whatever the issue is, it's probably a leak. But the good news is it's not like anything that affects the engine. I just don't leave my van idling is the only thing. Yeah, I still got the high idle. All the repairs that they did had absolutely nothing to do with the evap system. And honestly, I'm glad that they didn't, because I already have a high enough bill as it is. I need to pay that off first. I'm at like a balance of $800 left. So I've already paid it. It was a $2,500 bill, so I've paid in a lot of money into it already. But basically, $200 a week goes towards that. So I'll have that paid off, in the next 4 weeks. And then I'll take it in. We're going to do an appointment. I mean, they'd even work on it now for me and just tack it onto my bill, but I don't know. I'm not like that. I'm going to let them work on that when I'm done working on the van, because obviously I'm almost done with the van on the inside of it, and it's not really an issue that's going to affect the engine at all or how it drives. What's the status on the check engine light? So the check engine light initially will come on when I first turn the van on because of the evap code. That's the only code that I have, is the evap. Where before I was getting codes for misfires in my cylinders and all that stuff. But I quickly will just clear the codes out before I drive. And when I start driving down the road, the check engine light doesn't come on at all while I'm driving. Because again, it's not, there's not anything wrong with the engine or transmission or anything like that. It's just when it's idling, then the check engine light comes on and at high idles. But that's what I've just been doing. I clear the code out when I start driving, and it drives perfectly fine, no issues. It doesn't high idle while I'm in gear, basically. I did some research too to see if it was like something I could, try and brainstorm and fix, and I couldn't really find anything specifically to lead me into, what my issue is. But from what I can gather, these vans, all makes and models of these vans, have the same issues. Just something you got to deal with. But I will say this, I thought my gas mileage was going to be a lot worse because of all the weight I'm adding. But after they fixed the cylinders and the fuel injector, the distributor, the fuel, or not the spark plugs and all that stuff, once they fixed all that, I don't know how to say this so you all would understand, but basically I was spending $25 a day in gas to go to and from work each day, 5 days a week. So what's that? It's $125 a week in gas. Now I fill my tank up every Tuesday, my first day of the week at work. I fill my gas tank all the way up. It costs me $92 to go from empty to full tank. I pay the $92, and I don't have to refuel my tank until I go back into work on the following Tuesday. So I only fill my tank in this van once a week, $92 a week now. Unless I'm going to PA. Every other week I go to PA to get vape juice, but that trip alone is $20 round trip. So, but on a normal week, now I'm only paying $92 a week. I don't fill up again, and then when I do fill up, I still have almost a quarter of a tank of gas left. So the gas mileage has substantially improved by what is that, 25, 30, around $34. I'm saving now $34 a week in gas, and I do the same drive every day, same mileage. Nothing's changed other than when they fixed my van. So ever since they fixed it, I've been not spending $125 a week. But I'm also not filling it up all the way. That's when I say empty, I mean I'm at a quarter of a tank. So sometimes it's actually not it's $92 from all the way E to full. So this last week I was all the way E when I filled it up. When pulling into work, it just dropped down to the red line. Basically, it cost me $92 to fill it. But average weeks, it's around, I'd say $80 I spend each week. So if I'm going based not this week, but if I'm basing it off of the last week, I spent around $80 to fill it from a quarter of a tank. So that's, and plus my points off, I ended up spending 70 something because I had up to like 60 something cents off per gallon. Yeah, there's no question, as I'm definitely doing better with gas mileage with added weight. That's what's crazy about it. I don't even know how much all this stuff weighs. You're driving a brick, gas mileage sucks. Well, yeah, of course. I mean, it's worse than an SUV, a Jeep, and a Hummer combined, probably, but it's cheaper than towing something like that. The gigantic RV, imagine how much that thing costs to pull around. But from what I was spending when the van had issues, that's a huge difference. Like going from paying $125 a week from anywhere from $80 to $92 a week. I mean, that's relatively a pretty big difference, you know. And it's not like the van's getting any lighter week to week either. It's getting heavier. So it used to be 125 miles a week back when this thing was completely gutted and empty. No, when I'm full time in the van, at least for the next couple of months, I'm gonna literally live anywhere from 20 minutes to 3 minutes away from my job. I'm going to spend hardly anything in gas. Like a full tank in this van, if I don't go far from work each night, I probably won't even dip past 3/4 of a tank in 1 week. Like I'll still have 3/4 of a tank at the end of the week. But then, you know, on the 2 days that I'm off, I'll probably be traveling. I'll end up spending the same thing each week at the end of the day. I'll still be spending $90 a week. But I'm not spending, you know, $90 for a whole tank of gas to go to work. I'm spending it to go have fun. There's a difference. If you're paying $90 to go camping and traveling somewhere, you're paying essentially $90 for entertainment. But having to pay that much money just to go to work every day sucks. So I won't have to do that anymore, at least. I'd much rather spend all my money to travel, which is what I'm going to be doing. I get 18 miles per gallon with my truck towing, my 32 camper. I mean, you know what I'll have to do? I'll put the I'm going to put the trip meter on next time I fill this thing all the way up, which will be next Tuesday. I'll reset my trip thing and I'll keep track of what my mileage is. I'll have to calculate it, but I'll run it all the way to when it's empty. And then what I'll do is I'll go in I know exactly from empty to full, this thing takes up to 26 gallons. So I'll just calculate what my mileage is from full to empty, and I'll figure out exactly what my gas mileage is per gallon. I'll do that next week. I haven't done that yet. I've been meaning to do that, but usually I get around I'd like to say on a full tank in this van, I get around 400 miles of driving in it. So I could drive up to 400 miles on a full tank of gas, basically. I mean, shit, my job is about 38 miles each way. It's about 38 to 40 miles each way. So I'm driving about close to around 80 miles a day. We'll just round it up. We'll say 80 miles a day, 5 times a week on 1 tank of gas. So if you calculate that by what the mileage per gallon is, that's what I would be getting around. Oh no, the light is running off of the shore power port that I installed. See this? So right now I'm hooked up to the house power, which is what I do at a campsite or at my job, or anywhere where I can access power. And it's going through there, and then I basically right now I just have a extension or a power strip plugged into the shore power. I am getting my battery this week, so I'll show you guys real quick that haven't seen it yet, but this is the solar power battery that's coming in the mail. First, I'll show you guys how much it cost. So there's the battery. It's the Bluetti solar generator. It's the AC180T, which is basically the steroids version of the AC180. And it's $1,100 for the battery, but on Amazon Prime Day, or Prime Week, I got the same AC180T for $499. And this battery, the cool thing about it is, as you can see, it's different from their other batteries. It has 2 individual batteries that equals up to around 1,500 amp hours. And I can eventually add individual batteries. So I'll just have like 4 of these eventually. So when this dies, I just pop these out and pop the new one in, instead of having 2 separate battery systems like this. I could just have multiple batteries and charge them up. To charge this from 0% to 100% plugged into a 120 AC outlet only takes 1 hour. That's it, just 1 hour. This hooked up to 2 100-watt solar panels, which is what I have on the roof of my van during the daytime. It only takes us to charge from 0% to 100% in 2 hours. And then if you're doing like power saving mode and charging it slowly from AC power, there's 3 different settings on how quickly you want to charge it, and it just controls how many watts are coming into the battery basically. So the least amount of watts coming in obviously is better for the battery. The higher amount is, it kills your life cycle of the battery a little bit in the future. But so you got solar you could charge it with, you got shore power like this, and then you also have cigarette lighters. So this comes with a cigarette lighter that basically, while I'm driving, I just put the battery up front with me and I plug it into my cigarette lighter right there, and which I just got fixed. It works. And that can charge it. So the cigarette lighter takes the longest to charge. So you're not going to get, I think they said it takes like 4 hours to go from 12 volts to the 12 volt cigarette charger to this. So from 0% to 100, it takes roughly around 4 hours to charge it. But if you think about it, if you're like on a long road trip and you're driving for 5 or 6 hours, that's the time to plug it into that and use it. But Bluetti sells an alternator charger, which can charge it at a capacity of 1,000 watts. So it would charge it within an hour, the same thing as the AC power. That system is $238, and it hooks up to my alternator in the van. And then that runs to that system, and then that runs into this. So I might add that in the future, because then it will only take an hour to charge it from my van running. But yeah, this is a really nice battery system. It's huge. It's like 15.6 inches tall. So it will just barely fit under here. But actually, I'm not going to put it there. Well, it's going to kind of be there, but it's going to be up here. I'm putting that big ass battery. It's going to go, see that little space in between my bed and the water tank? It's going right there, right up front. So those four outlets right there are going to be facing this way, or I might have it faced inward or whatever. It's going to be right there, so I can easily move it. I can access it. I could plug it into solar right there to charge it if I want to move it up front. And then my plan is each day that I go to work, once I'm living in the van, my plan is to just take it into my job with me and plug it into the wall, let it charge for an hour, and unplug it, and then it's ready to go for the night. 5 nights a week, that's how I'll charge it. I don't even have to worry about fucking with the solar panels. But it's huge. Like, I'm telling you guys, this thing is heavy. I think it's a total of 69 pounds or something like that. It's like 69 or 67 pounds. This battery is no joke. Oh yeah, it's lithium. 100 amp hour lithium batteries, and so I already have my power inverter. It's right here. So I am doing Renogy batteries. Show you guys. Oh no, that's not it. Hold on. It's not in that box. My bad. It's in this box. So I do have a separate power system I'm hooking up in here. Over the next couple of months, it's going to take me to get everything for it. But this right here is a 3,000 watt power inverter. And what I'm doing with this is a completely separate system. The front of this, I'll show you the front. I don't know if you could see that. It's kind of hard. There we go. It's got three regular power outlets. It's got 2 USB outlets on it. And it's got a C port, or a C USB port, and then the back is just your DC hookups to your batteries. So basically, I'm gonna order 4 250 amp hour individual Renogy batteries. Renogy is the best battery, like for this type of setup. Renogy is the best battery to buy for camper vans. They last longer, they charge faster, they have more cycles or lifespan, and also they do better in sub-freezing temperatures. So if I'm traveling in the dead heat of winter, and I leave my van, Valentina and I go snowmobiling or something, come back and the van's ice cold, the batteries are still charging below zero. So I'm going with Renogy, and those batteries are going right here in the same place that I mapped out to put them. The power inverter is going over here in the corner, and the 4-bit, because it's a 3,000 watt power inverter. So I'm going to run my AC in it, and then I'm going to run any kind of DC type of lighting I have in here. It's going to go right through that power inverter. Then the Bluetti battery, this, come on. Where'd it go? This battery is going to run everything else. This battery is good to run like my computer monitor, my PlayStation 5 Pro, my 12 volt refrigerator up front, and a fan, probably the exhaust fan in the roof. Like smaller stuff I'll run on this, even though here's a crazy thing. This has a higher watt capacity. Look at it. Zoom in. This thing can go up to 3,600 watts, right? So it actually has a higher watt capacity than that 3,000 watt power inverter has. However, it's a different type of system. So the Renogy batteries will last longer than this would if I was running the AC unit on it. Or a diesel heater, either one. Well, a diesel heater is going to pull less power than an air conditioning unit because there's no condenser in a heater, and also it's running off a diesel fuel, but to start it and stuff, it'll use a little bit of wattage, but it's not running at a constant 700-800 watts. Well, is convert it to clean power or dirty? Some electronics won't power up if it's dirty. I don't know what that means. Oh, I see what you're saying. Well, I will say this. They do sell converters. So, like, if I get something that claims to be something and it doesn't work on my system and I have to convert it over from like DC to AC, all I got to do is just order a little, it's like a little control center. It kind of looks like the solar panel control center. And you plug into that, and then that will change whatever you want to change from DC to AC, and then you can go, you know, whichever way you're trying to go, basically. You can go vice versa. I don't know. The whole electrical thing, like, I don't really know much about it. I had to watch a lot of YouTube videos, and really where I found the most help in learning about it was just watching what other van lifers use. So basically what I'm doing is I'm combining two separate van lifers. One van lifer uses the Bluetti system, and one van lifer uses the Renogy system. Like Trent the Traveler, he used like Renogy batteries. Now he's got like tower batteries from Renogy in the like $7,000 to $8,000 range. It's crazy. But when he started out, he just used smaller Renogy batteries. And then there's another guy, I think his name is Gareth the Nomad, or Greg the Nomad. Anyways, he used the Bluetti system, and he does a lot of gaming like I do, and he used the Bluetti system. So I was like, well, both use the system, both seem to work for, you know, both do gaming and stuff like I do. I just decided to do both systems. Why not? It doesn't hurt to do both. One fails, you have a backup system, right? You know, imagine being in wintertime and my Bluetti battery, I get a like fluke battery or some shit and it stops working on me or it dies. I'll have a backup battery system. Now, the only thing that sucks about the two battery system is I will only be able to charge one battery system at a time off of solar. So, you know, on a good day with a lot of sunlight, I'll probably be able to fully charge one system and then move it over to the other system. Are you gonna buy more panels? What, you mean like the wood panels? Yeah. Yep, I'm doing that on Thursday. I get paid Wednesday night, and then Thursday, I usually do all my shopping the next morning. I'm actually getting different panels than, well, I'm getting the same type of panels I put in already for the roof, just longer, they're 10 feet. But for the bed and the cabinet, the kitchen cabinet area, I'm doing a really cool looking panel. Oh, hold on. Sorry, my phone's at low percent. I'm doing different type of panels for the bed to finish the bed off, and then also the cabinets at Lowe's, and then I'm doing the roof, the same exact type of panels that I have on the walls, except they're 10 feet, not 8 feet. So the 10 feet will be a little bit longer than what I need, so I'll have to shave off the ends of it. But the 8 feet aren't long enough. So I just thought, like, you know, theoretically I could have used the 8-foot ones for the roof, but I would have had to cut like a small piece and put it at the end where it didn't reach all the way to the back of the ceiling. And it would have looked trashy. I just want one continuous piece that goes the full distance. So I just need, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, maybe 10 pieces, 10-foot pieces. And they're like $9 a piece. So, well, the 10-footers are like $9 or $10 a piece. So I'll probably spend like $100 on the ceiling panels. So, but I also have to get more insulation for the roof. So I'm also going to get I'm thinking I'm going to go with like an inch thick foam board. So it'll be kind of like it'll kind of be like this insulation. It'll be like an insulation board like this, but this is 1/4 inch. So I'm going to go with an inch thick. So it'll be a lot thicker. The roof really needs to be insulated well because that's where the sun's beating down on the most. So if I go with like a really thick insulation, it'll keep the inside of the van nice and cool. Good night, Serena. Oh, really? So you can connect them all together? If you wire them right, they trickle charge each other? I didn't know that, because so my solar panels have a cable that hooks into both of them. And then that goes to just one cable. So then there must be like is there like a splitter that you would plug that into? And then, so the Bluetti system has a much different looking connector going into it than the power inverter that I have has. So the power inverter just uses regular battery terminals to hook the solar panels up to. The Bluetti system, there's like a special outlet plug for the solar panels to go into the Bluetti system. You don't use a standard battery terminal for the Bluetti. So I don't know how you would put that together, but I know I can have the solar panels charge all 4 of the Renogy batteries together. It's the same system, but I didn't know you could like charge a solar power generator and another system together. No, so like right now, the shore power just goes into a power strip with a breaker on it. So like this power strip right here that I'm using will trip. Like it's got like the safety thing in it. But no, so like the cable for the shore power is just going to go into the Bluetti system, which has basically the Bluetti system itself has its own breakers in it. Like there's a breaker thing inside of it. But the power inverter with the Renogy batteries, I'm going to have run through like power breakers. Also, like anything I've wired into that stuff is going to be on its own breaker line. So they're going to have their own breakers. I'll show you what I got here. So these are just the regular wiring that I'm using. Let me see if I got it in here. Hold on. Oh, that's not it. That's not it. Oh, that's my brake light. Let's not break that. That's not it either. Well, anyways, it's somewhere in the van then. There's the fuses. Alright, I got the fuses. Let's see. I thought I put it in this box. No, I probably set it somewhere else. It's probably in the garage somewhere on the chair or something. But anyways, so like the red line that I have, the red cable, so say I wired it to the lights I have in the van. Basically, there's a fuse hooked up on that wire, so it'll just directly blow that fuse if the power trips or something before it runs into my battery bank. So I'm just individually putting fuses on everything I have wired to it, I guess. Let me see what my battery percentage is at. 15%. That wire won't carry much current. Standard wire is copper-coated aluminum, usually run solid copper. Yeah, I know. Like, I'm just running some LED lights off of that wire that I have in the box. It's 14 gauge. It should be good enough to run LED strip lights. LED lighting, and then also my anything 12 volt. So like my 12 volt fan up there, I'm using that wire for. Hold on, a car coming by. But originally I was going to go with the GFCI plugs in the wall, but I kind of turned against doing that when I got the Bluetti system. Because basically the Bluetti system already has power outlets in it. And the only two places I really need power at is by my bed and the desk, which are happen to be right next to each other. Isn't that crazy? So basically I'm ordering on Amazon a power bank system that's going to be mounted under my desk. So I don't like wires out. I don't like, a bunch of cables. So it's going to be under the desk. So everything I have will be plugged into that. Or I could plug directly into the Bluetti system and doing like a USB and wireless phone charging mount next to the bed on the shelf. And then in the kitchen, what I'm doing is I'm doing another plug that will just go directly to the Bluetti system with an outlet that's going to be under the kitchen cabinets. So like if I'm going to pull out like an air fryer or a microwave or something like that, I would just plug the cable in under the kitchen counter, because I don't want wires on top. It's not that big of a counter. I didn't really want to drill any holes into the paneling. And then the LED lights I'm going to control with a remote. Comes with a remote. Same thing with the puck lights, all on a remote. So I don't really need a switch for those, because I could just turn them off and on with a literal remote. Buy a cheap 10 gauge power cable from Harbor Freight. So are you saying if I get a power cable, I can just splice it? Yeah, I mean, Amazon had a lot of selections for power outlets and stuff like that. And when I started specifically searching for kind of hidden power banks, using the word power banks brought up a lot of options that I liked. Some options had it's a power bank that had regular outlets, and then it had one cigarette lighter. Oh shit, Ben. Thank you. I appreciate it, dude. I think Ben sent me $10. Wow. How did you even find my Cash App? But thank you, Ben. I appreciate it. Yeah, so one of the power banks that I found has a cigarette lighter on it. It has a wall outlet, or two wall outlets, and then two USB ports and one C port. So I'm kind of going with that by the kitchen area. That way I can plug the refrigerator directly into the cigarette lighter. And then also by the desk is just going to have regular wall outlets and USB ports. I'm not really running too much at the same time in here. So for example, if I'm gaming and using my PlayStation and computer monitor and maybe a light in the fan or AC unit, that's all I'm running. If I'm cooking, and I'm about to use, a conventional oven or air fryer, everything else in the van's pretty much off except for maybe a light or LED strip light or something. There's not going to be many situations where I'm running multiple things at the same time. Yeah, I appreciate it, Ben. Thank you. Yeah, tomorrow I'm going to... I'm sorry, not tomorrow. Tomorrow's Wednesday. I get paid tomorrow night, but tomorrow night I'm going to be ordering my stuff on Amazon. So don't forget, we're getting the sink. Be getting the sink. We'll be getting the well, we'll be getting the PEX hoses from Home Depot for the sink, but basically I'm waiting to get the sink so Gerald can look at it, and then I'm going to drive Gerald to Home Depot with me, and I'm going to just ask him to pick out what he needs to hook it all up. And we'll assemble the sink sometime next week, probably next weekend. Because the sink's not going to come in the mail till sometime next week, unfortunately. It's just not going to come that fast. Everything big that I order on Amazon, it takes at minimum a week. But no, this weekend I'm finishing the desk, I'm finishing the ceiling. I'm going to insulate it and just go ahead and install my ceiling panels if I got to do any cutting or anything like that later to drill holes in it. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the ceiling panels all the way down, except I'm going to leave this space right here open because I still have to run my wire for the solar panels and the Starlink, which has to come down right over here somewhere. So we'll do the ceiling panels to like the last couple of pieces, and then I'll just set them in the garage. And then the cabinets I'm leaving open until we put the sink in, make it easier on Gerald to help me with that. So this weekend basically we're just finishing the bed up. We're finishing the desk is basically done, but this side I want to do some tweaking to it and maybe put some shelves in it. I'm finishing up the paneling completely on the wall on both sides, finishing the window trim up. Gerald's going to cut custom pieces to close that wall up. Same thing on that one. Depending on how quick Amazon delivers the metal exhaust port for the side of the van, I might be doing that this weekend. Those type of things come really quick through Amazon. I got the plastic one within like 3 days, but the plastic one's not going to work. I thought it was metal, it's plastic, so I'm putting fucking cheap Chinese plastic outside of my van. That shit would break in an instant. The first pothole I hit, it'll crack. And then I'm also going to try and build some kind of shelving down the center here and finish this up. And then I also, now that I have my water tank in here, I realize that I have plenty of space over here. See all this? This giant hole right here where the tire wheel well is under the bed. All this is space for storage. So I got to figure out what type of things I want to store in here. Maybe I can, build some shelves in here, or just leave it open to stick bigger items up in there. But yeah, because originally I was going to do an over wheel water tank. That's why that's open. But I ended up going with this. So now that's under the bed. It needed a flat surface. So I got all that storage there. This isn't really storage. This is for my power system. Batteries are going to be kind of like here, so I have a very tiny space in the center of the bed for storage, and then up here is kind of like my dresser for clothes and blankets and stuff like that. And then I'm also going to see if I can build myself a little cabinet for the roof around the sink, or maybe over where the air conditioning unit's going to be. So we'll figure it out, but I got lots to do this coming weekend. Pretty much everything will start to look finished after this weekend, because I'll have all the panels up mostly, even with the ceiling, and then the bed will be completely done. The desk will be completely done. The only couple things waiting would just be putting the air conditioning in, which I'm not doing till I'm ready to move into the van, because I use the AC unit in the RV right now. And then finishing the cabinet once I put the sink in, which is super easy. You all seen how quick I built this desk and put the panels on it. That's how easy it will be with the cabinets. I'm using the same type of panels over there. So that the only thing left over past this weekend should be the finishing that, putting the sink in, dropping the solar panel lines, and then the Starlink line, which I'll probably do at the same time through the roof, and installing the AC in it. And then that's pretty much it. Anything other than that would just be small things like, you know, mounting my computer screen to the wall, and then adding in like decorations and stuff I need, you know, like air fryer, or, you know, kitchen utensils, stuff like that. Like, I'm not counting all that because that's shit that I'm just ordering and putting in here. It's not really much building. So as you can see, we're almost done. You know, after this weekend, the bed will be done, the desk will be done, most of the panel, we'll say 95% of the paneling will be done, except for around where the AC unit's got to go out the wall, and then a couple pieces in the roof. So yeah, we are almost there, folks. We're a couple weeks away from the construction process being completed. Anything after that's extra credit. Just adding things on as I need. Do you own a drone yet? No, I do not. I am definitely getting a drone when I'm done with the van, though. Once I have, originally I was going to get the drone within the first month, but I got to make sure I get the mechanic paid off first. We'll say as soon as the mechanic's paid off, I'll get the drone. As soon as the mechanic's paid off, I'll get the drone. It'll just take me 2 paychecks to get it. Can you guys see my plant in the window? You guys see that? I don't know if you could see the plant. There's my herbs. Just chilling. Yeah, I'm not really that great at piloting a drone, unfortunately. I've tried before. I'm just, the eye-hand coordination with it being in the air and me not being in it is just like disorienting. So I suck. But the kind of drone... Oh, shit. Sorry, my phone's about to die. The kind of drone that I'm getting doesn't really require me to do anything more than get it in the air and then hit the autopilot and just tell it on the app where I want it to go and what I want it to do. And then from there I can learn how to fly it. I'm sure there's like a tutorial course you could take with the drone too. There's probably like instructional stuff or whatever. But no, the drone's going to be amazing. That's going to be like one of my favorite ways to film content is with the drone. Because I'll literally be able to drive like down like dirt roads and trails on my way to a camp spot and just set the drone up and have it track my van for a few miles and pull over and put it back in the van. Get that B-roll footage. And then also really good scenic shots from the air. And I found out, yeah, I have to register it with the FAA and then just pay attention to where you can and can't fly it, basically. Most parks, like there's some national parks that you can't fly drones in, but then there's a lot where there's not restrictions. The whole point of having a drone like that is to fly in nice places to get good footage. But if people keep doing dumb shit with drones, which I see online every day, then there will probably be rules against it. Anyways, I gotta go brew some tea for tomorrow. My phone's gonna die soon, so I'm gonna go ahead and end the stream soon. And what time is it? 1:55. Yeah, I'm gonna hurry up and brew some tea and then go to bed. Actually, you know what? Fuck it. I'll just do my tea in the morning. It's too late. It's already 2 a.m. Holy shit. I can't believe it's that late. Well, good thing I don't have to go to work until like 1, so I'll have plenty of time in the morning. Anyways, I'll take some pictures in the morning of how the countertop turned out with the epoxy on it, so y'all can see how it came out. And then tomorrow night, we're just going to do this every night when I get off from work for like an hour, hour and a half, where I'll pick something in here to stain. And then by the end of the week, it will pretty much be done. There's not really much left to stain. Well, other than the panels that I'm getting for the cabinet, I'll have to stain those, of course, separately before I put them on, but I'm trying to stain a lot of the basswood in here, just in case you could still see it when it's closed up. So when you like open the cabinet or something and you see the inside, like I want it to look nice and not just like raw 2x4, like at least stain it and make it look nice and matching. But the bed, remember, we're doing the whole bed black. And I am going to do the epoxy on the top part of the bed to seal the bed in once I stain it. So the bed will have a little bit of a gloss to the base. But I'm just doing that to protect it from water damage. Alright guys, hope you all have a good night. Appreciate you all tuning in. And hope you guys like this POV perspective of the van build. And I'll see you all in the next one. Have a good night, everyone. Thanks again, Ben. Thanks, BS, everybody, for supporting. Have a good night. Can I end the stream? My phone's kind of, oh, there we go. Have a good night, guys.